talking about an access key. When I look at the game, I look at who has an access key to get to the 30th floor. Okay? So the 30th floor access key in winning, I can't go to 30. Bill Russell's up there. Jordan up there. Like he's got, I may be on floor 25, but I ain't at floor 30. That doesn't make them, that doesn't mean anything to me. It just means that I don't have access to go to that floor. So if you have not won a ring, it doesn't mean you're not colder than somebody who won a ring. You just don't have access to go to the ring floors.
Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Outside the Playbook. Steph Curry, James Harden both played in Game 7s over the weekend, and both of them played in games where their performance was actually predictable. We knew what Steph was going to do. We knew what James Harden was going to do because it happens time and time again. Let's start with James Harden because there's comparisons between him and D-Wade. Everybody knows I'm a D-Wade fan, and everybody knows that sometimes I'm going to make some biased comments in regards to Dwayne Wade, but I will always back them up with factual information, which is exactly what I'm going to do in today's episode. Let's start on a respectful note. Let's make sure respect is placed on James Harden where it's due. First player to ever record at least 2,000 points, 900 assists, 600 rebounds in one season. Most 4-point plays in NBA history. Second most three-pointers made in NBA history. 32 consecutive games with at least 30 points, second only to Wilt Chamberlain. First player to score 60 points in a game with the triple-double. NBA most valuable player, 11-time NBA All-Star, 6-time All-NBA first-team selection, 3-time NBA scoring champion, 2-time assist leader, NBA sixth man. He's never missed the playoffs in 16 years of his career. Never. Led the NBA in free throw attempts made. I mean, there's so many different things to talk about as far as what he's done in the game of basketball. NBA 75th team member as well. But this is something that people don't really understand. When you're able to perform like that, when you're able to do things like that, when you're able to be that caliber of a player, there's requirements that come along with that. It is not to discredit your talent or skill or capabilities. It is saying that your level of greatness, it means that you actually have the ability to take it to another level when it matters most. It actually means that, guess what? You can do that in the regular season. Man, this is what is expected in the playoffs. And too many times we have this conversation about James, like, bro, when you get to the postseason, what is going on? You can't be a dog for 82 games and turn to a pup when it comes, to the playoffs. So when we look at James Harden, this is exactly what I mean. All right. 7 points, 5 rebounds, 13 assists. He takes 8 shots, 1 for 4, 2 free throws. I mean, yes, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 13 assists. In the regular season, they've actually won games where he's had similar stat lines. Not in the postseason, in a Game 7 versus arguably the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic in their gym. You're on the road. It's just you and your boys. That's it. That's all they got. All right. We don't need 7 points, 5 rebounds, 13 assists. We need 30 points, 6 rebounds, 12 assists. Give me 5 or 6 threes. Get you a couple steals in there. That's what we need from James Harden in this game. He's not going to give you that. And I can't put to memory a string of games where I can point to James Harden in the playoffs and say, you know what? That's a signature James Harden performance where we got in the regular season, but it just went to another level in the playoffs. I can't point to those. All right. So to Dwayne Wade's point, all right, you can make all these different cases about some of the things that James Harden's done in his career as to why you point to James Harden. Maybe he has better handle, isolation game, and all that stuff. But when you look at Dwayne Wade, when I say Dwayne Wade, you're down 2-1 to the Indiana Pacers, and you're going into Indiana. Down 2-1, Dwayne Wade's going to give you a 30-point game, a 28-point game, and in a closeout game on the road in Indiana, I'm going to give you 40. When you go to San Antonio in the NBA Finals versus Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Boris Diaw, Danny Green, Patty Mills, Kawhi Leonard, and you know what? Your back is against the wall. Everybody looked around and said, you know what? Stat sheet, LeBron stuffed the stat sheet, right? But Dwayne Wade, to a lot of people's opinion that watched the game and was there and on the telecast, said Dwayne Wade was the best player on the floor, and they won the game because of his performance on both sides of the ball. his rookie season in the playoffs. They didn't go to Lamar Odom. They didn't go to anybody else. They went to D Wade, who was isolated against Baron Davis for the game winner. You go against the Washington Wizards. Following year, Shaq is there. Shaq gets injured. You're on the road versus Gilbert Arenas. That's your matchup. Don't worry about it. I got it. We're going to sweep them, and I'm going to drop 40 points in the closeout game. You have a situation in 2006. We already know the NBA Finals. You're going against Dallas, down 0-2. I don't care what anybody feels about the fouls and all that other stuff. This man single-handedly took over the NBA Finals, dominated that series, put the team on his back, and in his third year in the league, on his rookie deal, one of the greatest finals performances we've ever seen in NBA history, and won finals MVP. You have a situation where, guess what? Going against the Atlanta Hawks, must-win game. Don't worry about it. I'm going to knock down 6 threes, send us back to Miami, and I'm going to take over that game too, bring us back to Atlanta. Back against the wall, I can count on the Dwayne Wade. Boston, situation where we're down 3-1, or we're down 3-0, okay? Down 3-0. It's just me. We should have won game 3. Did not. Paul Pierce hits a game winner. Fine. Come back the next game. I'm going to feed 46 to the big 3. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo, Kendrick Perkins, Leon, all those. I'm going to feed you 46. Situation in Miami where you're down, I can count on the Dwayne Wade to show up every single time when it matters most in the postseason. I can't point to those type of games for James Harden, and I for sure can't point to those moments in the NBA Finals because it never happened. And guess what? You say James Harden won against the Golden State Warriors. Cool. We talk about the year where Chris Paul got injured. Golden State ultimately wins that series, and you say, if we had Chris Paul healthy, we beat this Golden State Warriors team. The following season, the basketball guys, they one up you. They say, you know what? We're going to have you guys be fully healthy. Chris Paul is going to be fully healthy. They're not going to have Kevin Durant. Steph Curry comes into your gym and wins game 6 and game 7. What other excuse do you have? You have a situation where you lay an egg when you're in Philly. You lay another egg here in LAC. So what is the part where everybody's saying that James Harden is supposed to trump Dwayne Wade simply because of the regular season dominance that he's had? Your greatness and your talent and your skill and your gift means it should equal something extra and something more once you get to the postseason. And James Harden has not done that. So I'm still rocking with Dwayne Wade as the 3rd greatest shooting guard in NBA history, behind Michael Jordan and behind Kobe Bryant. But let's talk about Steph Curry's place in history, all right? Let's talk about Steph Curry real quick. Now, when I look at Steph Curry's numbers, 11-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ, 2015-2016 steals champ, 4-time NBA champ, 10-time All-NBA, 2009, 2010 All-Rookie, Sportsmanship Award. Nobody really cares about that. 2-time MVP, has a unanimous MVP under his belt. NBA 75th anniversary team, 2-time All-Star Game MVP, Western Conference MVP. He just kind of made that up for whatever reason. And Finals MVP. All right. Everybody's going to look back and say, whose era was it? All right. Was it LeBron James? Was it Steph Curry's? And the argument can be made because when you look at eras, right, you want to talk about who won a certain amount of rings in that era. When you look at the 80s, the era belonged to Bird and Magic. Isaiah Thomas, he got, 2 championships, but Larry Bird and Magic Johnson make up 8 championships out of the 10, right? You look at the 90s. Michael Jordan has 6 rings. 2 of those seasons, 1.5 of those seasons he didn't play. And then the other 1.5 seasons he also didn't play at the end of the 90s and 99, right? So that era belonged to Michael Jordan. Then there's that window where the era, you could make the argument that it was Kobe's era and Tim Duncan's. They both walk away with 5 from, 1999 all the way to 2010. They both get 5 in an 11-year span or something crazy like that, right? When we talk about whose era it was it LeBron's era? Was it Steph Curry's era? LeBron has 4 MVPs in that span. He has, 10 finals appearances or something crazy like that. 4 championships, 4 finals MVPs. Steph Curry has 4 championships, 1 Finals MVP. However you feel about Iggy, which I've already made a video about that. Go check it out. Iggy should not have been Finals MVP. Can't go back, can't rewrite history. It is what it is, right? So that's still on his resume. That 2 other players in 3 of the 4 championships that he has have Finals MVPs over him, with him being on the roster, right? So that's already a strike against his case of saying, you know what, Steph Curry could be thrown into the conversation for greatest player in NBA history. Because when we talk about that conversation, it is Kareem, it is LeBron, it is Michael, and people want to make an outside chance on Magic and Kobe. I'm not really of that mindset. I think they're on the outside of that conversation. But the big 3, Mike, Bron, Kareem, Steph Curry does not have the resume to stack up against them. And guess what? Even if he does get another championship, even if he does get another Finals MVP, there's still a whole still a whole Hall of Fame resume that separates him from the rest of the members in that conversation for greatest of all time. So no, he's not in that conversation. But if he gets another ring and he gets another Finals MVP, we're going to be having a serious conversation about Kobe, because we're already having a conversation about Magic, and you've seen my top 10 list. All right. I got Magic and Kobe in my top 5. So that conversation, or I think Kobe's number 6. Yeah. That conversation needs to be had. We're going to have to start talking about Kobe and Steph Curry. Yes, 100%. Because Kobe has 5 championships. Kobe has 2 Finals MVPs. Somebody else on his team has the other 3. They have similar resumes. They're both going to finish at very high levels in scoring, right? You look at Steph Curry, greatest shooter of all time, number 1 in 3 points make, 50, 40, 90 every single year. You're going to start having these conversations because guess what? Steph Curry has 2 MVPs to Kobe's 1. There's a number of things that come into play when we start having these talks, but I think respect needs to be, we still need to have respect to guys that are still on the outside looking in on that conversation, and don't be so quick to just be a prisoner of the moment. Steph played great. Steph played great because you're going to look at the stat sheet and you're going to say Steph only had 20 points in that game 7. Buddy Hield had 9 threes. There's a situation in that game versus Houston where they had 2 players guarding Steph Curry and he didn't have the ball. They were leaving guys open to make sure Steph didn't get the ball. Steph Curry didn't hit a single point until the last couple of minutes of the first half. He had a 3. Came out the second half, had 17, did his job, did what he was supposed to do, closed them out in a game 7. But there, you can at least point to 15 and 20 points where him being on the floor and moving without the basketball opened up opportunities for everybody else. Steph Curry ran for about 2 miles the other night. 2 miles in a game 7. He played 46 minutes. He's 37 years old. And he had 20 points. So all of 20 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, something like that, right? Or 20 point, whatever the case may be. That was his stat line. 20, 10, and 7. The argument can be made that Steph Curry, top 5. I'm not putting him in the greatest of all time conversation just yet. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments, does Dwayne Wade still remain as the 3rd greatest shooting guard of all time? And will Steph Curry enter into the GOAT conversation with 1 more championship, 1 more Finals MVP? That's 1 more for the good guys.